my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and today we're going to sit down for a minute and do a review of the year. So I thought initially I'd just do some highlights and lowlights, and the highlight has got to be New Zealand spinach again. So it was definitely the highlight last year. In terms of yield per square metre, it's an amazing plant. In terms of the nutrition, it's fantastic. Everybody that we give it to loves it. It's an amazing plant. In terms of the low light, it's got to have been whitefly and cabbage aphid. What a pain they have been. In terms of difficulties, it's got to be coping with water shortages and heat. And in terms of just sheer enjoyment, it's got to be the polytunnel. Okay, let's just quickly run through the year. So 2018 started as 2017 finished, with us working on Jennie's plot to reduce the workload. So we did loads of work to take this area, which was full of ground elder and bindweed, and create a lovely weed-free orchard area. And we planted loads more trees, and yeah, it's just turned out fantastic. It is so low maintenance now. We gave these trees a real good prune and they were all falling over, so we staked them all up properly, and yeah, it's been fantastic. We've got an amazing crop of apples and the workload's just dropped no end. We also put all of these edging boards in, which allows us to raise the level of the beds, which allowed us to put a thick mulch of compost down. And the combination of getting rid of the grass paths that were down here, so no more strimming of grass paths, and a lovely thick compost mulch meant almost no weeding. And yes, again, another element that's really transformed the workload here, and it makes it much easier for Jennie and her little boy Robin to come here, and he can run around safely while she gardens. It's just been great. So by the end of January, all this was done, and we were in a pretty good position on Jennie's plot. And then all the focus turned to my plot. By the end of January, we got approval to take out the apple trees that were where the polytunnel is now, and build that polytunnel. And so in February, we cleared the ground, took the trees down, levelled the ground, moved the path, and yeah, at the end of February, I think, we got the first beast from the east, which was a huge tree stump grinder, and then we got the second beast from the east, which wasn't quite as much fun, but it was okay. We survived. Fortunately, everything was under cover, and some judicious use of carpets on the coal frames kept everything alive. And so in March, we were pretty much ready to start building the polytunnel. So in March, the polytunnel went up, and towards the end of March, all of the raised beds were put in, and the floor was covered, and the trestle tables were built, and life really took on a lot more excitement and a lot more pleasant. It was much more pleasant in spring in here, and it really did transform the packing experience. You can see down here packing boxes, and these are all spread out on this trestle table during harvest time. At the beginning of April, the much loved polytunnel, which was at that point pristine, got a visit from the cats that decided that they would climb up it, and climb up it again. And so the whole polytunnel was peppered with cat claws and little rips and all sorts of things. So in went the annoying cat scarer, less annoying cat silhouettes, and that pretty much solved the problem. The first things we did was attach a gutter to the one side of the polytunnel, but it didn't really help, because despite having 1, 2, 3 really big water butts and the water collection system off the polytunnel, and hardly ever rained all the way through April, May, June, July, August, September and October, and we only started to get rain in November. So I think we were a quarter of the average rainfall, and we ran out of water at the middle of April, and we didn't get the water switched on until the end of April, so it was a tricky time. But by May, all of that was behind us and everything was going fantastically. The beds looked like this and this, and we'd gone from harvesting about £60 a week's worth of veg in winter to harvesting about £250 a week in May. So it was pretty good and we were pretty busy. And then we moved into June, and June was pretty amazing, and so was July, and so was August. It was hot, it was dry, but we figured out that it was just fantastic down on the allotment in the evenings, and so we were out and about during the day and here harvesting and watering, and yeah, it was just fabulous. In the end, we didn't get a hosepipe ban, and the water company actually saw sense, and even if we had had a hosepipe ban, they exempted the allotment from that ban. And in July we planted out all of the winter brassicas. So in June we harvested about £1,000 worth of veg, and we did the same in July, and we did the same in August, and we pretty much did the same in September. And at the end of September we decided to put the cold frame tops on, and the whole site turned from pretty beautiful into pretty ugly. But by this time it's all about the harvests rather than the aesthetics, and so we didn't mind too much. From September we realised we had a pretty big disaster on our hands. Plants that should have looked like this instead looked like this. Nothing was growing. When you realise that in September, it's kind of too late to do very much about it. But we planted some more successions, and we actually replanted all of these tiny plants in different compost, and although they were about a month late, they did finally start to grow. So in September we planted the field beans on Jennie's plot. So in late September and October we pretty much got all of our salad beds planted up. All the winter brassicas were in a reasonable state, although we were running behind. So focus turned to all the stuff we needed to overwinter. In went all of the lovely overwintered brassicas, flowers, the broccolini, the calabrese, and the romanescos. And then end of October we finally took all of the summer planting out of the polytunnel. It was a sad day really to take all the tomatoes out and the cucumbers and the peppers, but it had to be done. So the polytunnel turned from a jungle into this and this, and I was particularly pleased to get these trestle tables cleared so that I could harvest in comfort. In October we decided to make a few changes to Jennie's plot to increase the number of strawberries and garlic that we've got planted. So we put in one bed, two beds, and another one at home, and also in went the main overwintered onions and the garlic in this bed as well. So by the time we got to November, all our attention had really turned from growing stuff. We were still harvesting, but not very much, probably about £100 a week, something like that, to project work. So we put in this new gutter on the polytunnel, put in a cubic metre of water storage in the form of these big dip tanks, and we cobbled together some downpipes and gutter ends for the greenhouse so we could collect water here as well. And we put gutters on Jennie's shed, connected up the water butts that were already here, and put in another big dip tank. In November we popped in 2 beds of broad beans. So very early in December we also hit our harvest target, finally picked £7,000 worth of veg in the year, and yeah, we were really pleased with that. And we put down target for next year to grow £10,000 worth. And so there you have it, quick skim through the year. Harvested £7,000 worth of veg, fed 20 people for most of the year in veg, and we were self-sufficient ourselves in veg and most of the seasonal fruit. It's been a pretty good year, had its challenges, Obviously everybody had some challenges this year, but it's been good. Really looking forward to next year. See you soon.